Welcome back, everybody, to episode number 10
Hello, my friends.
of the Enlightened Brothers podcast.
Absolutely.
Now, you know, it's crazy that we started like 9 episodes on this because it feels like 30 so far.
Yeah, man, it's been a long road. It's been just a very enlightening journey for me, my co-host, and hopefully you, man.
And, you know, bigger, better things in the future. It's only up from here.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I already remember the production value on our podcast was close to 0 when we started.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, we're just getting better by the day, getting better, learning this editing stuff, learning how to mix the audio better. That's Caleb's forte.
Yeah, man.
And, you know, we're just getting into it. But last episode did really well. I'm seeing that you guys love the guest episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Kayla are both happy. We saw that little 90 views on YouTube.
And people stayed to the end. People watched all in
Hey,
an hour and
y'all
46
commenting
minutes.
those hidden messages. I see you.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you want to be one of those special people that we give little shout-outs to, talking about you, yes, give them a shout-out.
Well, shout out to Brittany Johnson and Kaylee R. They were the two people who have commented twice. They've commented our secret messages. In order to, I guess, consume these secret messages, you have to watch till the end. So, you know,
just staying attentive. We know that you're here. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah. They've shown to be our most committed listeners. So,
But regardless, episode 10.
Episode 10, baby.
We know
Let's
y'all
go.
ready for this because we coming in with the sauce each and every week, pleasing your ears. Let's just get right into it. Drum roll.
We got a guest, baby. Let's do it.
Stunting on my old hoes, styling on my haters.
Yeah.
Presidential is rose gold, say it's time to get paper.
How y'all boys doing?
Want to
Doing
introduce
good, man.
yourself, brother?
Yes, sir. My
What's
name is Lonnie Nash on YouTube. You know what I mean? Young stuff. I'm not gonna do all that. You know, if I want to say anything about myself, because you know I have watched the other. Dang, I have watched the other. I have watched the other. You know what I'm saying? Guest videos. Hey, look, I'm not your typical light skin with curly hair. I can tell you that.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, all right.
Talk to me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I think I'm kind of. You know, I can dress a little bit.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
hold on. Stand up. Show them the fit.
Oh, yeah, show the
Show
gang
them
the
fit.
fit.
I mean,
Walk
so
up to the
I-
can.
so
Walk
how
up to the
many
can.
people you want me to walk with this, or you want me to?
I got you.
Yeah, all right.
He's walking up to the camera. All right, so know that they
Audio
can't
listeners,
they
you
can't
missing
hear
out.
you, but you got the chain
Show 'em
on,
the
got
shoe
the
game.
Reckless, got the Jordans, the J's, baby.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
Heavy stepper. Now, you know, I'm going to just put this out here. I think he's the first guest that we've had with actual drip.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry,
he came-
Casey.
He came
Sorry,
on
Taylor.
with
But
the
you know.
drip.
Lonnie came in with the sauce.
Lonnie, where you
Like
from, bro?
brothers.
You know, I'm from up near Philly, you know what I'm saying? Like 20, 30 minutes outside of Philly, you know
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
saying? The suburbs. Yes, sir.
Land of brotherly love, man.
Yeah.
Philly boys, let's go.
Yeah.
Crazy story. Me and Lonnie met like around 4 years ago.
Yup.
And we were always kicking it on 2K on PS4, kicking it on Fortnite.
Yes,
But
sir.
you know, Lonnie's one of my best homies, even though I'm only meeting him this week. And it's crazy because we
Wait,
have,
This your first time seeing him in person?
yeah.
Wow, I didn't
Me
even
and
know
Lonnie
that.
are homies for real. We
Wow,
just
that's
clicking off bet.
That's
It's
crazy.
been that long. That's what he was telling me the other night. He's like, yo, it's crazy because we just chilling like we've been knowing each other, which
Yeah,
we
bro.
have, but we ain't never seen each other
Exactly.
in person. It's crazy.
That's
Oh,
how you
man.
know friendship
Yes, sir.
knows no bounds.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
man. Shoot, that's some good stuff, bro. Well, hey, man, let's see how you do today.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Try to keep it.
Oh wait, but
like
real
it.
quick, you say you have a YouTube channel. You know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can go ahead and promote a little bit.
Give yourself a
You
little
know what I'm
shout
saying?
out.
Just Young Stowe, you know what I'm saying? YUNG Stowe, STO, no spaces. You know what I mean? Just on the grind, you know what I'm saying? Only positivity over there. I'm doing reactions right now, but you know, I'm gonna try to dabble in some other, you know what I'm saying, types of public stuff going on once all this COVID stuff go away and all that stuff. But
Yeah,
you know,
I'm telling you now, this man channel is elite. Y'all should check it out.
yes, sir. Appreciate that.
Because I know if y'all already watching us, you got good taste. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know, same thing.
Well, give it a look, give it a whirl, man. But now let's get into the show.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, the science world has been a little slow this week, I must say. There hasn't been any big breakthroughs or big tests like the Hyperloop stuff. And, I mean, we did have a space launch not too long ago, but, you know, things here and there. But I just wanted to come and kind of say my piece. The theme of my week in my scientific learning and my reading is sort of shown up everywhere I've gone on YouTube and in the books I read. It's the concept of reality, and this and specifically objective reality. And what we found is that there is no such thing as objective reality, and reality is sort of an illusion.
First and foremost, what is objective reality?
Well,
Let 'em know.
So
Let 'em know.
objective reality is something within classical mechanics and classical physics. People like Newton, Einstein, Aristotle, they kind of said that regardless of human observation and regardless of any human interaction with the world is something. The world around us is objective. Aristotle believed in absolute time. Newton, not everybody believed in absolute space, but Aristotle believed in absolute time and absolute space. Einstein and Newton have sort of devised from that. But as we've come across the new science, which was in 1950, which we came across quantum mechanics have kind of bent our perception on reality. They kind of bent our perception on the world. And it's said by Richard Feynman, if you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't understand quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics is one of the absolutely most tantalizing subjects that pervade our universe.
Yeah.
And if you're unfamiliar, quantum mechanics is the study of the really smaller than the atom. And there are many theories of what the quantum mechanical world makes up. But just to dive a little bit deeper into quantum mechanics, most people think the fundamental thing that makes up the universe are atoms, protons, neutrons, and the little electrons that spin around it. But what we do know is that protons actually break down into things that we like to call quarks, and neutrons break down into even smaller particles as well. But you can't infinitely make these particles smaller. And once you get smaller and smaller, down to a millionth of an inch is when we get into quantum mechanics. And in the quantum realm, we see particles not necessarily as pinpoints, we see them as waves.
So, hold on. What I got from this is that the objective reality, what you called it, is basically reality exists out of what's perceived by us.
Yes, out of what's perceived by us.
And so how does that relate to objective reality?
Quantum mechanics?
Yeah, quantum mechanics.
Right, so this is how we're going to get into it. What we know now is that the particles in which make up the world exist on things that we like to call quantum fields. This is quantum field theory. Now, a vibration in this field is what births a particle. So when we get a crest in a quantum field is when we get a quark or an electron or a gluon or a gauge, or all of the particles that construct our universe is what we get from these vibrations in the quantum field. So from that, this is a lot of technical stuff, and I don't want to get too technical on this podcast, but what we've learned is something we like to call the uncertainty principle. The uncertainty principle tells us that we cannot know the momentum and the position at the same time for a single particle, for a single quantum particle. So we can never tell how fast the particle is going and exactly where it is. So in that, we've birthed something called a wave function. This wave function is what tells us basically a general area of where this particle exists in reality. But among this wave function, there's numerous possibilities in where a particle can go. So you usually use light, and there was this amazing experiment called the double slit experiment. They used basically a photon emitter, which is light. They basically pumped out photons of light, many waves of light, through a screen. The screen had two little slits in it, but we saw that the light wasn't just in these things that we like to call interference patterns. The interference pattern didn't just show that there was only two slits. The electrons of light covered almost the whole screen, and it showed there were little interference patterns, but it wasn't like just the light only went through those slits. It showed that the electrons sort of traveled through the slits of light. So it shows that in the wave functions, it shows that these quantum particles move in every possible in every possible way they can go. But when we perceive it, when we observe it, is when you collapse the wave function. Collapsing of a wave function is what we perceive as reality, is what the particle actually shows up being. That was very technical. Bear with me. I'm sorry.
You said let's not get technical. Got super technical.
And I got super technical. I'm sorry. So hopefully I'll edit some of this out. But
all right. Let me try to put it in layman's terms from what I'm getting from this.
Cool.
So objective reality, perception of it's what that existence of reality beyond our perception, and this wave function and the quantum mechanics in it goes into what reality actually is, separate from how we can perceive it.
Right. And what you're using right now, although Einstein didn't like quantum mechanics, that was his view on quantum mechanics. But there was this, I don't know if I'm pretty sure either Dutch or Danish. Is that the same thing? Danish is like...
No, I don't think it's the same.
Dutch, either Dutch or Polish. His name was Niels Bohr. He didn't agree with this sort of objective reality. He believed reality to be more subjective, and reality was comprised of the observation of a human. So, because we know that these particles, when they're observed, we don't know whether it's observed by a human, plant, whatever. The observation of a particle is what breaks down the superposition. Because what I meant to get in before is, before we see wherever this particle of light or this photon before it makes that point on the screen in the double slit experiment, before anything in the universe happens, there's a certain superposition. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to break down quantum mechanics in 2 minutes like I'm trying to, but the best way to describe superposition is what we like to call Schrodinger's cat. Schrodinger's cat is when you stick a cat in a box with a bomb in there, in a vacuum, and the bomb blows up. We are not sure if the cat is alive or dead until we open the box.
That has to do with like probability, right?
That's the probability.
I know Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah, that's the observation. So before we observe the cat, that's when it's in a superposition of quantum state. That's when it could be any of the probabilities within the wave function, like I tried to explain before. Anyway, this all comes down to objective reality, which has been bending my mind for the whole week. It's that because we know that the world around us, we only perceive it through a neural function.
Yeah.
Photons coming into our retinas, our brain spinning and spitting out this image that we like to call a reality.
All right, hold on. I'm going to pause you here because you're going crazy.
Go ahead.
I'm understanding everything you're saying, but I'm not going to say I understand it because, if you say you understand quantum mechanics, like you said, you don't.
Right.
But anyway, Lonnie, what are you getting from this?
Yeah.
I feel like I've just been taking that all in. So, as much as I like to put things in my mind as little technical, with as little technicality as I can, right? So
trying to break it down.
With me, we was just talking about this. So I have a psychology class that I'm taking, right? And that was one of the questions they was asking in that class is, how do you view reality? And I feel like a lot of people can say, oh, well, reality is just how the individual sees it.
Right.
But I feel like reality is what a person can see and process as much as it is the unknown for everybody as well.
Exactly. And in that, it's the power of the human brain. Because like I said before, everything we see, everything you see us on this screen, everything we see in the world is purely a neural function. It's purely a process within our brain. But human brains are all together on some sort of bandwidth. We are all on this sort of radio wave together. Because we can all agree that there's a computer in front of me, right? Yeah. We can all agree that there's a computer in front of me. So that is sort of an objective reality. But at the same time, maybe we share the same subjective thinking. That's kind of the mind-bending thing. Where does it break down into where I disagree from you?
Yeah.
That's what the superposition is.
The theory, I wouldn't even want to really call it a theory, but the scenario where the world pauses when you're not focused on there, or it's not in your train of thought or whatever. Right. I think this is really based on these theories and based in quantum mechanics and objective reality.
Yeah, and before we get into the two technical interpretations of our reality. I want to get into one before that. It's the whole thought of, do we live in a simulation? And it's sort of scary to think about, but it's like when you think of this Niels Bohr thinking of the subjective reality and the reality is only what you're able to perceive, nothing else. It's like we're in a room right now, but outside of this room is that reality downloaded. That's the thinking of people who believe in we're living in a simulation. It's that the simulation doesn't have to upload the reality behind us because we can't see it. It's out of our observation, or hear it, or smell it, or taste it. Outside of our senses, that's when the reality isn't there. The only safe face to that, the only thing stopping us from seeing other reality, people that believe in the simulation theory, they believe the one rule over us is that we can't go past the speed of light. Because if we were to transcend the speed of light, we would end up going faster than the computer that makes us our simulation. We would end up going faster than the processes of that computer, essentially being in a state of nothingness because the simulation didn't upload our reality. Before you say that, my fault. I know I'm talking a lot, but how can you be so sure that the reality in that room isn't not there at all, and only the reality around us is what's uploaded?
Well, I propose the bigger question.
Sure.
If life is a simulation, who's this simulation run by? Because all of this data has to be processed and made by, let's say, individuals. And there's no way, if life is a simulation, then it's already planned out, and there would be no way of verifying this.
Right. Exactly. So that's absolutely mind-bending. And when you think of probabilities, and this is a very constrictive probability because I'm not so sure if we live in a simulation or not, but is it more probable? Because like when a civilization creates a simulation, that the civilization that is simulated, they also create a simulation because we create simulations. We create video games and stuff like that. We have The Sims, and eventually we're going to try to create a simulation. We're going to eventually, when we get to the vast computer power within Moore's law, we're going to eventually try to create a simulation of another world. And that simulation is going to try to create a simulation of another world, and so on and so on and so on. So is it more likely that we are within the original universe, or are we within the billion, million, trillions of the simulations that follow? That is the issue.
I'd say, well,
mathematically, it's more probable that we're in one of those, but we don't know.
Let's think of ourselves in this situation as computer-generated programs.
Yeah.
With the ability of, well, let's say we're machine learning. It could be probable due to innovation and new thoughts being thought of. Remember when I was talking about everything is a remix?
Yeah.
And how there's no original thoughts? I think that really supports this theory, because if there are no original thoughts, that means that everything has been thought of and that has been set in the simulation by us. Simulation. So, but the only thing to counteract that theory, I would believe, is either religion or just knowing that it's impossible for us to create new things because everything that has been thought of has been and will be.
Right. So, the only safe face to us not being in a simulation is religion, the probability that we're in the original universe, or that there is some cap to computer power and there is no way that we can simulate an entire universe. So before we get into more technicalities, that leads us into, are we in a simulation, Lonnie?
Now, I do, one thing I want to say is that the whole idea of how all this was created and the creation of the earth fits into that very well, especially when you said we could be in one of the billions and billions of.
Right.
So how, you know what I'm saying, none of us know how we got here, right? And if you was to watch a movie, you could watch a movie. The
Matrix.
So you just watch some of these movies, and you know what they say? They do say the movies kind of tell more truth than, you know what I'm saying, whatever we living in, you know what I'm saying, right now.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a really good possibility, but again, you know what I mean, like we was just saying, you never gonna know. That's the problem.
One thing I do want to say is I believe that there are cornerstones of reality. Like if to relate it to something that's more understandable, like Marvel.
Yeah.
Like the Time Stone,
Yeah.
the Power Stone.
Right.
I don't believe like there are like actual objects like that, but various energies, because I do believe in like signs, and like you believe you can see stuff that can be related to somebody else. Like me, I'm seeing something somebody else is feeling the same way in Venezuela or something like that.
Yeah.
But various energies that are constructive of reality and make it so it would not be a program or a simulation like what we're seeing.
Oh, so you think they're so complex that there would be no way a computer would be able to simulate that type of action? Oh no,
there wouldn't be a way.
So you agree with that? Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's something absolutely crazy to think about. I mean, but at the same time, even if we do live in a simulation, right? And this was kind of the Matrix thing. I'm not sure how many of the listeners or how many of y'all have watched the Matrix, but escaping that simulation, it's not necessarily the best thing. It's like certain people are perfectly content living within the simulation, because us three love life.
Are they?
The people
or
that
are do they believe that they are because of the simulation?
Yeah, that's a crazy question.
Yeah.
That goes even beyond. But it's like, we're able to taste food that we love. We feel love and attachment to our family, friends, girlfriends, etc. All those such things are what creates life. So if we love life so much, there might not even be a reason to create the simulation, just because the simulation is so good. So, I mean, the simulation theory is something crazy to think about, but at the same time, does it necessarily matter, because we love life anyway?
Yeah,
it's just for those people that are trying to keep going and push the limits of who they are and where their consciousness comes from, that really starts to bend their minds. But now on to the more there's two schools of thought on the subjective reality. There's the many worlds interpretation, and then there's quantum I don't even know how to pronounce this word, but it's a Bayesianism. But I'll go into it. So the many worlds interpretation, we talked about the wave function and how it's probable that this little wave packet of this quantum particle could be here, 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 or here, right? You know how the wave function, how it can take take multiple possibilities. The many worlds interpretation is that it's accepting that there's no objective reality, and that in any quantum, interaction, that a new world is created, a new reality is created upon every action. So just to make it a little bit easier to process, let me think of a real world process. So I don't know, think of a proposal, right? So in the many worlds interpretation, there's a reality that your husband or wife says, I do. And then there's another reality in which your husband or wife, or your prospective husband or wife, says no to your proposal, your wedding proposal. But before they say I do or I don't, the world is in a superposition of states. You don't know whether they're going to say I do or I don't unless they told you beforehand that they were going to say that. But you still don't know. So it's subjective. There's no objective reality. There's nothing saying that they're either going to do this or they're not going to say yes, other than the probability. That probability is a quantum superposition.
And something I'm thinking of is in those situations, like in a game when you have a choice to go like one branch or the other, even if you make a choice, what's going to happen is based on data that's been previously collected. But, fate can change based on future occurrences. So, I think it's deeper than what you believe is going to happen.
Yeah.
This one choice, it's like the butterfly effect. It'll sprout many different other choices that are not essentially linear, because they can change in many different ways, but there's no way of telling.
Absolutely. And within and what you're talking about right now is causality, and kind of a little bit what I've picked up from what you're saying is us humans kind of releasing our attachment to time. But within this causality, there have been certain quantum experiments, and I'm not going to get technical this time, I promise, that show that effect can precede cause. That what happens when you observe this quantum particle, that retroactively decides what happens in the past. this is completely mind-bending and is why I've lost sleep over this week. But right, but it's because the world that we live in, we always think of cause and effect. You have a cause. What happens then is what gives you an effect. But within quantum experiments, we've shown that within the quantum realm, certain things effect can retroactively affect cause. That's absolutely mind-bending. But then within the many worlds interpretation, as I was explaining before, that there's all these realities. So when you make that choice, like you said, is when you hop on this route of reality. So other than the many worlds interpretation is quantum Bayesianism, whatever that word is, because I just read that today when I was diving deeper into this, but that's also a subjective reality. So what you experience is basically an amalgamation of possibilities your mind and impressions create of the world. So within basically your reality is what I said before is purely what your mind creates that to be. So your knowledge of probabilities and your own impressions of the world, that all mishmashes up together and creates the reality around you. But the issue there is, if my reality is subjective, who's saying your reality is the same or different to mine? Who says you guys are even real? This is the whole thing of you're the own main character of your story. How are you so sure that you're not the only person in a simulation and everything else, all of your reality is something drummed up by your own mind and the probabilities and your own impressions, putting this canvas of the world out in front of you?
I think perspective is the one thing that changes that.
Reference
Perspective is the one thing that creates technically multiple objective and subjective realities.
Yeah.
Give it for an example. If you have somebody that you love that's been taken hostage and you have to make a choice of either paying ransom money or maybe you go in there and like save them yourself.
Yeah.
And then let's say you save them yourself and then you realized later that they were taken hostage and they would have been killed even if you had given them the money. So you saving them was the rational, correct choice, but you did not know because maybe if you had chosen to pay for to save their lives, they would have died anyway. Yeah. So that separates the reality of what you made it by effectively making that choice from what reality could have been, which would have been like the subjective reality.
Yeah.
So perception,
right.
Interpretations, that's all what separates it.
I feel like reality can be interpreted on so many different levels, though, when you think about it, right? It can be determined, like you said, every single person could, and you know what I'm saying, according to that, could have a different reality, right?
Yeah.
Could see everything in their way based on their experiences, what they've been through, what they see every day, right? Mm-hmm. But then you could take a step further. We all gonna look at America, or other countries probably look at America and group us all into one reality, right?
Yeah.
And they can see us all grouped together,
yeah.
But we can look at another country and see them all grouped together. But then even take it further, if we could, you know, and this is just, you know what I mean, this is just saying what if. But like, let's say there's some life from Mars or whatever.
Oh, yes, sir.
The whole planet gonna be like, oh, that's their reality.
I like how you're thinking.
But then it just can keep zooming out. And reality, like, is so...
Yeah.
It's such a like a loaded topic to
Yeah.
the point where it can go any level. You can go real broad. You can go really down deep into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what you're saying is not only just like purely quantum mechanical. It's also like psychological and relationships, person to person relationships. Yeah. All of this stuff together, sort of like grabs us into what we like to call reality. It's absolutely crazy, and I mean. We could certainly keep going. And I don't know. Personally, I definitely believe I believe in the science, and I certainly believe that that reality is subjective. And we kind of what the science has done, it sort of put us in these positions to make choices, and it kind of proves that the reality is subjective just because of the power of our own mind. And in that is where I was talking about the superpositions. And like basically to show that your reality is subjective, we could do the Schrodinger's cat thing. Say it was a huge box with the cat in, and a person in that box was viewing the cat. So the cat, the bomb was set off, but the person was somehow kept alive. that person collapses the wave function, so they know whether the cat is dead or alive. But you outside of that box, it's still in a superposition. You don't know whether the human and the cat are dead. You don't know whether it's just the cat alive or just the human dead, and you can keep going. So that shows the sheer like subjective nature of our own reality. And what Emery was saying with the choices, and what you were saying with different like perceptions, like varying based off of scope, kind of traces us to another place. And in this realm of thought is where we kind of get more into our perception of reality. So this realm of thought that I'm talking about is time travel. We know, and I've explained this in other episodes, that mathematically time travel is something that is feasible. Before we get into the technicalities, do either of you desire to travel time?
For me, I feel like if time travel was to become a thing, it'd have to be really controlled.
Yeah.
And like you can't just go back and change history type junk. Like you'd have to go back and not be able to do as much. You know how you see in movies, you make one more little change and it changes your whole future, like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and who's you know what I'm saying? Who's saying that that's really what would happen, or how, like, you know what I'm saying? That's all just theory.
Right.
But I do feel as though for me to go back in time, I'd go back in time. You know what? What did Drake say? Drake said, "I wish I could." You know what I'm saying? Really, he said something along the lines of, "I wish I could relive my life." Not to change junk, just to feel a couple of things twice, like something
I like that.
right?
I like that. Yeah.
I would go back to watch and see and watch all that over again.
Just to experience it. Yeah.
But I wouldn't go back to
change anything.
Yeah.
What about you?
Personally, I think reading about history is, well, I like to see things and experience them. So I think personally reading about history is kind of boring. So
Right,
I would like to go back and see the things that have brought the world to the state it is today. But I wouldn't want to go time travel into the future, because that personally be boring, because the excitement in life is found in the unknown.
Yep.
Okay. So, and you know what? All three of us agree, although I do disagree on the future thing. But when it comes to time traveling to the past, which time traveling to the future, we know that you can do that just by traveling near the speed of light. But traveling into the past, we don't necessarily know if we can do that. But based off the prospect of traveling in the past, all three of us agree we don't want to change anything. We're content with the life that we've been given. But for those who do want to go back and have regrets and want to change the past, comes something that we call the grandfather paradox.
They think that time is linear. In that case, where like if you make one choice, like I was saying before with the branches, but in reality, those choices will spur other decisions. Like making one choice can make a rock fall 1,000 miles away from you, and it's just it can't be measured the outcome that will happen.
Right.
It's kind of like you know what I'm saying, like the snowball effect or whatever you want to call it.
Exactly.
You're gonna make one change, and it could affect every like person that you've interacted with, and then that could affect people they've interacted with. So, you know what I'm saying, it could really spiral into something crazy.
Well, what you guys are talking about right now is the many worlds interpretation that I said before. But a lot of people do perceive time as linear, but as y'all said, one choice can affect all of these things. That's what the many worlds interpretation is. But to go on to what the grandfather paradox is, and this sort of linear thinking of time, if you travel back in time and kill your grandfather, when you go back into the future, what are you? Mm-hmm. If you go back into time and kill your grandfather, you're and before he has your mother, before he births your mother, then you eliminate your mother from the timeline. You essentially eliminate yourself in the timeline, and this mind-bending sort of action is what creates what we like to call a paradox. Because if you kill your grandfather before he can have your mother, then what comes of you?
I want to go off on a tangent real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Pause on that. This begs the question of reincarnation and not reality, but existence of life itself. Say if we weren't born, if I wasn't born as me, would I have been born regardless? Like I would still be feeling as like I would have no idea that I was myself or anybody else, but I would still know that I exist.
As your consciousness, yeah.
As your consciousness. It wouldn't be me. It would be someone else.
That's the separation of consciousness, mind, and body.
Exactly.
The separation of soul and body, essentially. Yeah.
And what else? Reincarnation. If my grandfather wasn't to be born, and could I have been born as some other separate entity that could still contain the same energy of myself? That's how, like, some people say, people listen to old stuff or they seem wise beyond their years. They're called an old soul.
Yeah.
They don't have any memory. This is saying if reincarnation were to exist, they don't have any memories of who they were in the past or maybe in a future life. Who's to say reincarnation is linear, like how we were saying time travel was, but just containing that same bodily and soul energy.
Yeah, no, and that sort of reincarnation thing is actually something I've read on recently. The book I'm reading right now is a book of Hindu spirituality. It's called the Bhagavad Gita. And within me and my monk journey, this has just been the book that has come up. And in that, it's just going on to reincarnation. Those souls who have not realized the Lord, who have not realized the true meaning of human life, they continue just to be reincarnated. But those who realize the Lord, they go up, they join him and live within just into infinity and beyond, and they live forever in a sort of heaven-like state.
So does that refute that hell exists?
Yeah, so in that there is no hell. You just go
This
infinite spiral.
Yeah, you it's an infinite thing, but those who do good but still don't realize the Lord, they kind of live in a heaven-like place. So they live in happiness. They live out. They have a time. That time, or a meter, I guess. All the good things you do in life fill up that meter. But once that runs out, you just get born into another person. But those who realize the Lord, who realize what they call Vishnu, and they become this person. They realize the gift of meditation. Once they get to that point, they kind of join Vishnu and Krishna, and they basically live for forever, infinity within that being of soul. That's a completely other philosophical thing that can't necessarily be tested by science. And many scientists, they don't believe in these sort of religious and spiritual things. So in that is where they came up with the many worlds interpretation and the quantum Bayanism and all of that stuff. So when we talk about the grandfather paradox, it's hard to even think of what could happen. This is why people like Hawking believe that you can't travel backwards in time because of the causality protection conjecture. Because that says because they believe in cause and effect. But what we have seen in the quantum experiments that have shown that effect can precede cause, traveling back in time could be possible. So due to that traveling back in time, there's a few routes that you could go on. But before that, the people that are extremely confused, I found something on the internet that can kind of make easier this idea of effect preceding time. So I'm just going to read it verbatim. In this version of events, you would be, and this is in the morning, like you wake up in the morning, you're doing breakfast. In this version of events, you would be opening the fridge because the butter was already on the table, and your toast would be perfectly golden before and after you put it in the toaster. You wouldn't just be making breakfast, your breakfast would be making you. So it's still a little confusing. I know. I'm sorry. It's still a little confusing. It's confusing to me too. But it kind of shows that, like, your perception of reality, once you perceive it, the reality goes back in time and basically chooses the cause. It chooses the cause in which you decide to go upon it. And this takes away from determinism. And I'm stuttering here because my mind is going 10 times faster than the words because
you can't understand it.
You can't understand it because if you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't understand quantum mechanics.
I'm going off. Wait, go ahead. I want you to finish up this, and then it's not my topic for today, but I want to go off on a huge tangent.
Okay, so yeah, let's just finish this. So we're just going to finish this time travel thing. Say we live in a future that we don't like. Say Hitler ended up winning, okay? Say Hitler ended up winning. Would you guys want to go back in time and kill him? Just say yes. Let's say y'all wanted to go back in time and kill him.
Sure.
If the many worlds interpretation was real, going back in time, you would only go back in time and hope that you would hop onto another reality. So let's say you killed Hitler. That's when I said like 4, 5, 6 episodes ago that time forks, and you go on to the future. You yourself go into the future that Hitler was killed, and you live happily ever after. Which is unfortunate because all the other people that didn't time travel with you are left in the past, and unfortunately they're still living in the future in the reality that Hitler was won. But there's this completely other reality in which all of the same people are living, in which the reality that Hitler was killed and that you're living happily ever after. That's basically the showing that I'm sorry. That's basically the illustration that reality is subjective, that all of these people exist within your timeline, which is absolutely crazy. Now in the quantum Bayesianism look is that you have not left the future. When you go back in time, you have not left the future because the future that you think is purely subjective. There is no future that all of us share. So within the future is only an assessment of the possibilities, of the wave function, of the things that could possibly happen. So in turn, when you go back in time and you kill Hitler, you're creating a certain reality based off of purely your own subjective probability assessment.
Okay.
That said, if you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't understand
Bro,
quantum
this
mechanics.
dude's head is smoking right now.
I don't understand it.
He's spinning.
This is why I've lost sleep this week. This is why, just to get personal, I'm working on college applications this week. And instead of writing my essays, I've gone into this realm of quantum craziness because I can't grasp as a human that my reality may be subjective, may be completely different than another's.
Okay.
But go on your tangent here.
Not even a tangent. Different topic entirely.
Sure.
Science and let's just say religion, but in this case, religion is the existence of what science can't understand.
Okay.
I believe that both of these are interconnected. People always want to separate science from religion,
Right.
and say that like God cannot exist because it's scientifically not provable.
Right.
But in reality, they work together. They're conjoined, and let's say I'm gonna call it existence because I think existence is more broad than reality.
Sure.
It just feels that way. Existence is everything that we can understand, everything that we can't, and everything beyond.
Beyond our 5 senses.
Yes, beyond our 5 senses. But religion and science are interconnected due to the fact that everything in the universe, everything that we know, everything that we don't, is formed up of numbers. Just because they are formed up of numbers or data or whatever you want to call it, things that are scientifically provable, doesn't mean that they weren't stemmed from things that we do not yet understand.
Yeah.
Because if you go back thousands of years, they would have never known how the Earth revolved.
They wouldn't have agreed.
They wouldn't have agreed. And just now, we're I don't think there will ever be a point that we fully, completely understand the universe because there's too much to understand because it's constantly expanding.
Sure.
And so if we think of the human race as linear, as infinitely progressing, so will the universe because as we continue to evolve, as we continue to understand things on a deeper, more meaningful level, so do our surroundings. And religion, if you want to think of it as everything that we don't understand, can you truly say that that's improvable by science, or can you only say that science is not yet up to par?
Well, what you said was extremely loaded, extremely introspective, and it was full of merit. And I actually enjoyed what you were talking about. And just to go on the religion, religion was the science of the past. Like, before we came up with this sort of scientific thinking, before we called it science, that was their science. Because what did we say in episode 1? Science is a way of perceiving our natural world.
Exactly.
So that the religion was perceived, that was their perception of the world. That the earth was flat and the earth was being carried by a flying turtle, and it was turtles that went all the way down, and everything revolved around this turtle that was carrying the earth. That was their science of the past. So our science now kind of goes away from this religion, but it's just your way of perceiving the world, and this goes back to subjective reality. If there's somebody who completely disagrees with science, you can't tell them that gravity is just space-time curvature. You can't tell them that science does all these things, because they can come up with a reality, or through their religion, they can come up with a reason. So, yeah, there's no way of saying that. Of basically telling somebody that a reality is something. This is our discussion on reality.
Could you truly claim that something that humans or mankind doesn't know of truly doesn't exist?
I feel like it all has to do with a person's open-mindedness, right?
Yeah.
Because in this day and age that we live in, a question like that could immediately be put down by somebody who's not open-minded at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of people in the world who will sit here and listen to that and not take none of it in.
Yeah.
And they'll just dish out whatever they think instantly and put whatever you got down, because it's not fact. People love fact, which, you know what I'm saying, rightfully so. You know what I'm saying? Fact, you know, for, you know what I'm saying, you know it's going on. You know what's going on.
For sure.
I feel like being open-minded is so important in this world because, again, we were just talking about reality is what's known and unknown.
Yeah.
Not everything is known, so how are you going to say something's not true when nobody in the world really knows if it's true yet?
Exactly.
So I feel like that just, you know what I'm saying, open-minded.
For all those people out there who will let's just call them, these are real conservative people.
Sure.
That will not break away from their beliefs.
Uh-huh.
You're a fool. Possibly. I'm gonna just say that it's black and white, and in this case, they're just limiting their understanding, because even if you're not religious, and even if you want science to back everything up, there are still scientists to this day that cannot explain some of the phenomenons that we see on Earth.
True that.
And there will be people that are stupid enough to claim that just because these scientists can't perceive it and understand it, these scientists, which, by the way, are humans like you, even if you don't understand it, you're taking it in through their explanations, which is the whole point of this podcast, is us just bouncing around information, continuing to generate our knowledge, not being one of those fools that just sit there and just take everything in as it's presented to them, trying to understand, go dig deeper, and go beyond our realm of understanding, which will promote more understanding. Because do we even understand what understanding is? Nope. Until you understand what understanding is?
Understand.
It's just an endless cycle. And if these people are not even beginning that cycle, they're sitting still, they're letting everything come to them, when you should be going forth and attempting to see things in your own way. And these people that are ignoring the don't want to say ignoring, these people who are blind to the phenomenons of the world and what everything is, are just limiting themselves.
Sure. And since we're kind of talking about science and religion as an entity, one of the greatest scientists of all time, you could argue the greatest, Einstein believed in God. Newton, all of these scientists believe in God. Actually, well, not all of them. Most of them back in the day did. And obviously, people can rationalize a world in which science and God exist. They believe that God is the one who carries out this science. And I'll get into that. When quantum mechanics was basically found out, when quantum mechanics was expressed as a thing that could be, Einstein said, God does not play dice with the universe. So obviously Einstein believed in the thought of of a great omniscient deity, which is the which is the acronym for God, great omniscient deity.
Right.
So when we talk about things like the Big Bang, before the Big Bang happened, there is no such thing. There's no concept of time. All the science that we know today was shot out at the moment of the Big Bang. So one could say that God was the one who set the Big Bang in motion, and a lot of scientists believe that if there is such thing as a God, he will put his finger down on the Big Bang, and then everything after that, he has no say in that happening. So where the real discrepancy with religion and science is now what goes on in the world are the actions that happen, are they carried out by some sort of probabilistic science, and that's within quantum mechanics and all of that. Is there quantum mechanics within our brain? Does quantum mechanics govern our brain? Or is it God or something else that carries out these sort of actions? And maybe it's both. We have no way of knowing.
There's one thing that I do want to say.
Sure.
And I dare anybody who does not agree with me to try to refute me, maybe in the comments or if you see me in person. Either I don't like doing absolutes, but in this case, I do believe that there is an absolute. Either A, you believe we're in a simulation like we were talking about before.
Sure.
Or B, you believe that there is some type or form of
higher
power. Not in. You don't have to be a Christian. You don't have to be a Muslim.
Yeah.
You don't have to be Jewish or believe in any specific God that is shown in text of the past. But how do you rationalize to me that at the beginning of time, quote unquote time, whatever we understand it to be, that science alone and a particle, or let's say the smallest increment of measurement that is possible, flourished into the Big Bang and eventually our world, eventually our consciousness? What came before?
Yeah.
What came before the particle? Before our generalization or rationalization of nothingness? What is nothingness? Mm-hmm. I believe that nothingness is God itself. That nothingness is what science. This is why I was saying they were intertwined. That nothingness is what science and religion come out to be. Because I don't know where I'm going.
No, I understand. What you're saying is what set the Big Bang in motion, and you're saying what precedes the Big Bang, science cannot understand, and what you believe that is before is your religion is God, is what set the Big Bang in. Well, do you believe in the Big Bang at all?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So what set the Big Bang in motion? The issue, and this is what happens with humanity. This is what happens a lot within theoretical physics, because we know what theoretical physics is doing right now. They're trying to come up with a theory of everything, and on our journey into coming up with this theory of everything, coming up with one question and one answer that defines our universe, all we do is keep coming up with new questions and new possibilities. So, with the Big Bang, what people have came up with is the infinite universe theory or the multiverse theory. So within the infinite universe, there's a Big Bang and a big collapse or a great collapse. So we started in this infinitely and infinitesimally small, dense particle that bang into the universe we know today. But we know that the universe is expanding, right? But this expansion is slowing down.
Yep.
It was speeding up at first, the curve, but we know eventually it's going to slow down. And when it keeps slowing down, when it gets to a point in which it expands to its max point, it collapses. This is the great collapse, and the world comes back into this infinitesimally and infinite density small point. Mm-hmm. And then the whole process starts over again. Another bang, another collapse, another bang, another collapse. That's the infinite universe theory. Also within the multiverse is we have our universe, but there's all these, I guess you could say spheres, because everything's a sphere. You could say all these universes, and these universes collide, and they bounce off each other, and certain universes expand at different rates. So that's like
mathematically, like you were saying with the different rates, how do we know that the curve is truly slowing down? Maybe it's only slowing down and where we see is feasible, but beyond that, these different rates collide, and they're unmeasurable. So how are we to truly say that it is slowing down?
Oh, the expansion of the universe. Well, so the way we basically saw that the universe was expanding, I believe it was Johannes Kepler. Yeah, Johannes Kepler. Or no, not Johannes Kepler. Edwin Hubble. Edwin Hubble. Sorry. Wow. If anybody, future scientist, is looking at me, I apologize. I do believe it's Edwin Hubble, the Hubble telescope. He was perceiving other galaxies, and he saw that, he saw that the galaxies were moving away from us. And in this, and a whole bunch of smart people got together. They saw that the universe was expanding, but they see that this expansion is slowing down. I forgot the type of curve that it is, but it's basically the curve that maps the expansion of our universe. So that's basically how we rationalize it, yes. But I don't know, man. It's a whole bunch of wild stuff. And I'm pooped. We could go on this for hours, but it hurts my brain. Like, y'all guys' brains hurt as much as mine.
Yo, you just
I don't even know what we're talking about at this point.
Yeah, man. It's an absolute insanity. So let's bring this crazy conversation to a close, and we're gonna have many more conversations of this. But I'll just say, whether it's simulation, whether we live within a subjective reality or it's an objective reality, whether the person beside you is real or not, whether the world behind you is uploaded or it's just hasn't been generated yet by the simulation, or if there's an objective reality set forth by some great omniscient deity or some great divine order that sets the universe and it has already determined our fate, what resides among all of that is experience, is your human experience. And within all of this stuff, this contemplation that we're doing is very stimulating to our brains, to our minds, is very fun to talk about. But within all of that, we can always, whatever our world may be, love always stands in the middle of it. We can always love one another. We can always love ourselves, love our lives. And within that is experience. Within that is joy. Within that joy, you can always live a fulfilling life to the end of your time. So, but whatever happens before your time, whatever happens after your time, whether you're reincarnated, whether you go to heaven, regardless of that, within your own human life, you always have experience, you always have love. And I must say, in order to keep contemplating these things, we must get past the great filter.
And sorry, you wanted to end it right there, but I have one more comment.
Sure.
Unpopular opinion: atheism isn't real.
Sure.
Because either, like I said before, you believe that we're in a simulation, and everything that can happen is just linear, or you believe that science and religion are interconnected to a degree. Because if you believe that we're not in a simulation, then to some degree you have faith. And what does faith tie into? That ties into religion. So, yeah.
You have any final words on this topic, man?
I would say, off of what you just said, I feel like atheism is, I feel like people who are, you know what I'm saying, consider themselves to be atheists.
Yeah.
Find themselves still wondering how all this came to be.
Absolutely.
Which is, you know what I'm saying, kind of mind-boggling when you think about it, that you know what I mean, like you, at that point, you should open up your mind and really think about it like, okay, well, maybe this is not, you know what I'm saying, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I'm this, or maybe I could be wrong. It's the possibility to
the
be
open-mindedness you were talking about.
Yeah, but
exactly.
To be an atheist, they reject all possibility of there being a higher power.
Yeah.
And just from there, you lose a good chunk of understanding of your natural world.
Yeah. Guys, this is great stuff. And it's this makes me think it's just crazy to think how non-living particles, because we are birthed from the stars. We are birthed from the fusion that happens within the stars. The sun provided us with what we are today, and it gravitationally brought together what came to be the Earth. And when we had the dinosaurs, a great meteor came down, smashed into the Yucatan Peninsula, and out of that, mammals came out of the ground. And even before the dinosaurs, single-celled organisms came into contact with other things and came eukaryotes. And eukaryotes birthed what we are today, birthed consciousness. And what I just described is something called abiogenesis. And within abiogenesis is how non-living things come to be the living things we are today. And in abiogenesis, what is the barrier to abiogenesis? The great filter. And how do we continue? How do we continue as this civilization of triumph and of the special nature of humanity? It's getting past the great filter. We must get past the great filter. I'm going to say that over and over because I believe that if we abandon the sort of irrelevant things that pervade our society today, and we just we come together hand in hand across the world, across our globe as humanity, because we know that humanity is here. We join together, globalization. We walk hand in hand into a better tomorrow. In that we get past the great filter, we're able to stop climate change and an AI revolution and all these dangers that we can imagine coming to us tomorrow. Us getting past the great filter allows us to come back to what I said was the general theme of life, is that joy and experience.
And to all the concepts that we've discussed in the 10 episodes of this podcast, to believe that they're just a culmination of cells and possible, just whatever you believe science to be.
Sure.
Just to believe that all of that is just a culmination of whatever is tangible to us is just sad, because the complexities of human beings and their emotions are not just comprised of cells and everything else.
So you know within your soul that it goes beyond that.
If you do believe in the soul, you are religious to some degree. And
as much as I love science, as much as I try to live by it, when I think of my emotions, and we know that a lot of emotions are neurochemically comprised, but just it's a human I guess tendency to want to believe that there's something else. That's why I like to believe of the all-pervading wavelength that our brains are on.
So because there's no term for every emotion that we feel.
Yeah.
That's why we're always at a loss for words. That's why sometimes I can't formulate what I'm truly feeling. And feeling is beyond science, because there will never be a word for everything that we feel, because it's constantly evolving. And the reason that it constantly evolves is it is to some degree science, but it's beyond that, beyond the understanding of science.
Sure. And we can keep trying to come up with these ending topics, but you keep building on what I say, I keep building on what you say. So this will certainly be the final thing I say. As a scientist, I truly believe most of the things I say, but with all the philosophical and sort of metaphysical things that we discuss as well, I believe that at some point somebody will figure it out, this theory of everything, but I believe that it all comes together within one point. I believe that all of these little parts, quantum mechanics, classical mechanics, religion, feeling, relationships, atheism, whatever, Muslim, Buddhism, whatever you believe in, all of it comes together into something. And that something is the human experience. That something is reality.
All right, guest, Young Stowe, closing ideas on this?
Y'all covered everything that I was thinking about over here. I like, you know what I mean? Anything that I say, I feel like could spark, you know what I mean?
More conversation?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So quick house cleaning things, man. This is your first time on the Enlightened Brothers.
Yeah.
What do you think of the experience? What do you think of like the the ideas that are birthed from our minds onto this. Like, what out of this conversation, what's the feeling that you have right now?
I just, you know what I mean, it's just really cool to be around people that, you know what I'm saying, can talk and formulate ideas and formulate what they're trying to say.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Because, you know, Emery might know, you know what I mean? Even if I'm on a PS4, I go on for hours. I go on for hours about stuff just like this, you know what I mean? Sometimes I gotta be like, okay, let me chill, I'm going on too long. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that I like talking about just like this because, I feel like open-mindedness is just what can keep this world spinning around. I feel like we live in a world that a lot of people might like to, you know what I'm saying, kind of bandwagon off other people's ideas. And, and the thing that I say all the time is, which isn't necessarily a bad thing at this point in time, but you know what I mean, you could have like a big scientist or something, and now with the media, they could push whatever they want. And that kind of leads on because, you know what I'm saying, if we go into the topic that I want to talk about, it kind of leads on into that. But
okay, so you have a topic today? So you want to transition to your topic?
Yeah.
So we're going to do a transition right here. Our guest has brought in a topic. Lonnie, give it to the people, man. What's up?
All right, so my topic is really just going to be talking about how the media and like kind of like higher ups, like the higher ups, like how they say the elitist groups and all that stuff, kind of control how we think and how we, you know what I'm saying, move in our everyday life, right?
Sure.
So like what I was saying with the media, you know what I'm saying, somebody like they could say like a scientist or something came out and said this just in...
Aliens.
Yeah, aliens or anything like that, right? And
yeah.
if it's on the media, people are gonna believe it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how easy it's gotten to be, is that people will believe that over the people saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why when I look at stuff, say flat earthers, people who, you know what I'm saying, believe in flat earth.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I look at them and I'm like, oh, I can see where you coming from with that. I can see why you might think that this and that. While other people be like, nah, the earth round. I ain't trying to hear what you're trying to say.
Even take our podcast, for example. One of the things we might say might be a mistake. And, you know, since we're such cool guys and we just keep rolling, you might believe it.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, all
That's a
this
fact.
stuff could be
That's a
fake.
fact.
Man.
Sorry. We just got the charisma to make you think.
Yeah.
You know, that we talked about this on episode 3. Because did you watch, The Social Dilemma on Netflix?
No, I didn't watch that.
Oh, yes. Well, you should definitely watch that documentary, but it talks exactly what you're talking about, is that social media has kind of gotten us to a point where there is no objective truth, and that open-mindedness is what we need. And when you're talking about flat Earth, look, as a scientist, when you said the Earth is round, the Earth is round, the Earth is round, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
And me as not only just a scientist, but I try to believe myself as a kind soul. I am kind to those that believe in other things, and I will listen to what they say. But when something like an eclipse happens and we see that the eclipse is spherical and it comes in as a circle and that there's not just one little thin slit, that shows us that the Earth isn't flat. And just many different little things like that. But, that is very interesting, though, that, like, you say, like, the higher-ups, they kind of choose what media is popular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel as though, like, higher-ups, it's came out in many different, the Illuminati, all this type of things, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Groups of people that are just behind the scenes kind of controlling what's going on down here, right? And it can
First
get really
of all,
deep.
do you guys believe in a background reality, so to speak?
Deep State?
Yeah.
Illuminati?
Yeah.
To some degree.
I do.
I'm going to be honest with you.
I don't even like talking about that stuff on camera because, I don't. I honestly don't.
Well, you know what? If that Deep State is so good, then they're either going to get us when they get us, or
they already know what we're talking about now.
Yeah, or they already know what we're talking about now, or just because we're talking about this stuff, they don't want to pluck us off and make it obvious, so then they won't do it.
Hey, if that's the case, don't let us upload this. That's my challenge to you.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Deep State.
Go ahead.
If you're here, then come get us, bro, because we're them boys.
Because they're not like superhumans.
Yeah.
All these people that are running things in the backgrounds are just like us. So if you have the potential to pull the strings, then I have the potential to cut those strings.
They're just powerful.
And
let them know.
To future Caleb, if somehow I in the future solve time travel, I want you right now to come back in the past and save us. So if I solve time travel, I will appear right here.
Wait, no. If he's gonna save you, that would mean that there are alternate realities.
And that means that in the many
Because
worlds
you're about to
interpretation,
die.
that means in the many worlds interpretation, I go back and then I go into a different reality. Therefore, my future is me going back in time and going into this different reality. So therefore, I will not experience that right now. That's subjective reality. Bing, boom, bow. We just freaking solved the key to the universe. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But as somebody who's very objective, or not objective, optimistic, I don't like thinking about there being a deep state. I don't like there being like a group of people that, oh, this year Biden's the president, this year Trump's the president.
Yep.
Like that's scary, bro.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It is scary, but like we were saying before, the pessimist.
Yeah.
I believe that opens more doors than you could just being an optimist.
Sure,
So
I
you
agree.
have to have a good blend of both.
I agree.
And, people say this often, but life sucks and reality sucks. But, there is a lot of beauty to it. And I think that some people, because you know how evil humans can be.
Yeah, sure.
I'd be more afraid to go up against a crazy dude than fight a bear. Because imagine if, just imagine the possibilities of what you could conjure up, what somebody else could possibly do to you.
For sure.
And, just human greed, human manipulation, human error. I believe that they go to such lengths that it is possible for there to be somebody pulling the strings. Not somebody, well, a group of people. And, it's crazy, bro.
So I have my mother put me on this dude because back in the day I used to see, you know what I mean? I'm saying, you know how when you're little they say you can see like spirits and you see stuff and all that type of stuff. And
My
you know
grandmother
what I
said
mean?
that.
Yeah, and so me as a little kid, like I have vivid memories of it still to this day. And you know, what I mean, I have stuff walk into my room and all this stuff, and like it'd be some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But my mom always used to say I used to play with somebody, right? Like I used to play with she thought it was just like an imaginary friend.
Yes.
And the one day she was scrolling through pictures with my grandmother, and they were looking back, and my mom's grandfather died when she was 4, and I pointed straight to a picture of, you know what I'm saying, her grandfather, and said, "Oh, that's the dude I'm playing with. Oh, that's him right there." And I said his name and everything. Never even talked about him before in my life, right? So that type of stuff, you know what I mean? I feel like going back there kind of, helps me think that, like, because the whole reason this whole, like, elite stuff is happening, right?
Yeah.
Is, well, that's what they say, is to, whatever you call it, keep us at a state where we can't, like, where we think that's just fake.
Yeah.
Like, that ain't happen, right?
Right.
And so going back to where I started, that kind of was a little tangent. But
No, I feel you.
the reason I was bringing it back to that story was because she brought a dude over, Joseph, because there was some paranormal stuff happening, and his name was Joseph Tittle.
Yeah.
And he's like a psychic medium. I don't know if y'all believe in that type of stuff, but he was a psychic medium, and he was saying what was going on, saying stuff having to do with our family and all that type of stuff. And so now we watch him today on you know what I'm saying, YouTube, and what he does is he like predicts stuff every month and at the beginning of every year. And like just recently, like he predicted a month before it happened that 2 hurricanes would hit the Gulf of Mexico, which they did.
Right.
He just predicts stuff, and he's like 90% correct the whole time, right? And so I'm always open-minded. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna fully believe him, but I'm gonna take what he's saying and be like, okay, cool, what's going on? And one thing that he's really like about is that whole, like, the elites and all that stuff, and they're behind the scenes doing pretty nasty things. For sure. You know what I'm saying? And like, cause when you think about it, you say, oh, the government's corrupt to somebody, right? You said the government's corrupt, and it's normal. People be like, yeah, it's corrupt.
Yeah.
Like that's normal.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like
How?
Yeah,
They don't-
exactly.
they
Right.
can't
They
explain how.
don't go further.
And
Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't, and it's just normal to be like, oh yeah, they're corrupt. But this guy goes in depth, and he's like, yo, they're doing nasty stuff, whether it's stuff having to do, I'm not going to get into all that. It's a little while, but just doing some crazy stuff behind the scenes and maybe trying to, like, pick strings so certain things happen in their favor. And, you know what I'm saying? All that type of stuff.
Let's, all of our topics are kind of intertwined at this point because they're so expansive, but, like, censored media, is there anything out there that you really could, like, you couldn't know no matter what? There are always avenues that you could take to potentially find out information, whether it's limited by the government or whatnot. So what I think is, like, even the books that you read that are propelling us to do all these group discussions. They're written by humans like the same as us. So
Right.
if there's a scientific theory that they had thought about and they left out one key major detail, we wouldn't be able to rationalize that because that came from their minds and they didn't translate it into the book form that we take it as.
Yeah.
So I believe that science and some degrees of our understanding that we know of today are limited, and there are key constructs that are being kept by those who maybe formulated these ideas in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And we wouldn't be able to know because they're not accessible to us. And so I believe that this deep state and these governments or whatever organization you want to call it are just keeping this information away from us.
Yeah.
And, it's intangible because we don't have access to it. But if we did, that would propel society. So I don't know what they're trying to limit because, that information is not accessible to us.
Yeah.
But
So in my whatever you call it, in my kind of like how I view it and how I see it, you know what I mean? I wouldn't call myself a super spiritual person, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm definitely open-minded in that sense. You know what I'm saying? I do know a good amount of stuff about what, that stuff is about.
Mm-hmm.
But involving that, I would say that they are trying to limit, or it is said that they're trying to limit people's consciousness, right? People think that they can reach that state, right? You heard of people opening their third eye and stuff.
Yeah.
People think that that's our natural state, right? With our third eye open, and having your third eye open is being able to kind of have certain cues and communications with the, the other
divine?
dimensions,
Right,
stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we're coming out, if we're coming out the womb, being able to do that, right? And then everything they put into this world, they're controlling us to not be able to see that no more, right? They're controlling us so that we can't see that, and that now we're thinking, oh, that's crazy, right? Now we're thinking, oh, that's crazy, and all this stuff, and kind of like you see it in the media now with NLE Choppa, him doing his little spiritual journey, and everyone in the comments, oh, he's crazy, he's tripping,
Yeah.
what is he on? But if you're coming out the womb seeing that type of stuff,
Yeah.
it's that's what it's all about, and they want that to happen. They want that adjunct to close. They want us not to be able to believe and find our true higher consciousness, so we can, because if that was the case, we wouldn't need a government. We'd be able to, oh wait,
exactly.
why do we need this? We can all do this ourselves. Everything is inside us. We got that.
That's interesting to think about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Say I was born in I don't know. I keep saying Venezuela. I'm gonna say it again. Venezuela.
Sure.
I would be a completely
You
different
need to take
person.
a trip there.
or something.
You owe them a trip.
or something. I would be a completely different person on the outside, but my basic fundamental, I don't want to say morals. Who I am as a person wouldn't change, but my experiences would have constructed me to be a completely different person from who I am today.
Sure.
And this deep state, if there is one, I believe that their role is to control our perceived realities.
Yeah.
So they're basically molding, not completely, but influencing us to be however their vision is. So in the case of if they were deciding who the next president would be, that would completely change our livelihoods. So in some way they would have an influence on who we are to become, and not basically playing puppet, puppeteering our lives, but to some degree they have control.
Yeah. I mean, two things, picking up on what both of y'all have said. One serious, one just me thinking. The serious one is the only issue with this deep state stuff. We know now that humans aren't immortal, right? So for this deep state thing to happen, there obviously has to be some sort of line. There has to be somebody that dies, the next man up.
Like a dynasty.
Yeah, it has to be a dynasty. At the same time, though, in order to just cover all these things, in order for these people to just truly be out of the picture, it has to be some sort of elaborate, beyond comprehension plan that I just don't think that a plan that is that elaborate can be carried out by a human, because at some point we know that there's human frailty, there's human error, so they have to make an error at some point. Maybe these errors are like certain things that happen within our realities. Maybe those errors are the things that we like to call disasters or coronavirus or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe those are the errors, but at the same time, I just don't like. And then for them to be carrying out these elaborate plans, they also wouldn't be out in the world experiencing the good things about the world, like dating and people have intercourse and food and stuff like that. They wouldn't be out there doing that stuff because they'd be constantly controlling the world. Maybe this control is the only thing that gives them joy, but I don't think so. So that's the only combatant to the deep state. But that if the simulation is real, these people who aren't out there enjoying things and who could possibly be immortal, the only way it makes sense in my brain is that if it is a simulation and these deep state people are like, I don't know, what do you call it in a video game? Not gamekeepers, but I guess you could call it gamekeepers. Like, there are people here that are just monitoring the simulation, moderators, so that they place limits on people so that they don't break the simulation. That's my only way of thinking.
Go ahead.
So what I wanted to say, so you said there had to be errors, and in today's day and age, it's easy to have those errors and cover them up. In my just because of what I'm saying is,
I know what you're about to say.
So I could take one. Okay, so Oprah was being investigated for human trafficking.
Right.
That was on the media. I don't even think I seen it on the media. I heard about it through a little website. They ain't put it out there, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But then what they putting out there, they putting everything having to do with the debate, everything having to do with coronavirus, everything to cover that up, right?
I knew you were gonna say this,
less people are doing it and
Right.
whatever. And
Media manipulation.
Same with Chrissy Teigen and John Legend's wife was being investigated for that same thing. They covered it up, and you know what I'm saying, now they got people feeling bad.
You guys know MK Ultra?
No.
You don't?
No.
It was basically this experiment that was ran. Timeline's completely off. I think 70s, 80s. Don't quote me on that, but it basically had to do with media news broadcasters, and there were certain signs that people were able to notice within these broadcasters that were stayed constant throughout different media, reporters on different channels like Fox, CNN. They all displayed these same attributes, and it was basically to expose media manipulation and say that the mind control, to some degree, was being presented to show the society and people as a whole things that they wanted to see.
So I did have there was something on Instagram about that I seen, and it was around the time where a lot of that the riots, the Black Lives Matter peaceful protests and all that stuff was going on. But it was on somebody's story, and I clicked on it, and you saw it too. I posted it on my story. It had to be 20 or 30 different news broadcasts, and they were saying the same thing in the same tone of voice, in the same the same everything. And yes, you could say they have a teleprompter, but you gotta understand, if I had a teleprompter, I'm gonna read what's on there, but you can expand on what you're saying, right? They saying the same thing right down the line, crazy on all these different, and that's just a form of what I'm trying to say.
Wow.
People will be able to program people without them knowing, right? It's kind of
Caleb Dog.
It's like a form of programming. And nowadays with the media, it's easy to cover stuff up. So if you mess up, like you said, it's easy to cover stuff up. Now big mess ups, you know what I'm saying? I could understand where you're coming from, but just remain like I said, I'm extra open-minded, so I'm just thinking look, and okay, let me go into something not something different, but just something else within it.
Sure.
There's a thing. You ever seen stuff involving the bathtubs with rappers and movie stars and all that stuff? You ever see? Okay, so you'll see now they have this little they say it's they're Luciferians or whatever, all that type of stuff. They're basically just evil individuals.
Yeah.
And they have to join this type of elite group organization through a couple of different ways, which could be, wild or whatever. But look up all this stuff, all these artists, all these rappers, Drake, Eminem, all these people.
Yeah.
They'll take a music video or they'll have a picture or a photo shoot.
Uh-huh.
Tupac was another one.
Yeah.
In a bathtub. And that represents their initiation to everyone else. They don't gotta go say, "Oh yeah, I'm in this."
Yeah.
Nah, that represents their initiation to everyone else, which could just be a coincidence.
Exactly.
Another one is it's just been in the news with the D'Amelio sisters covering your eye up in a picture. They saying that's a good one. You ever see my favorite rapper, Jay-Z, holds up the rock.
Yeah.
Whatever, but a bunch of other people doing that too. And
Right.
They think that is a form of kind of like a symbol to everyone, like, okay, yeah, this is what we're like. I'm in this now, or I'm with y'all, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just like extra
And
behind the scenes.
assuming this deep state stuff is real, they're not idiots. They know that it's gonna get us talking like this. They know it's gonna spur conversation.
Yeah.
And I can't, assuming it is real, I can't say what that is for, because even if we talk about it, it'll make us conspiracize and get us closer to an eventual truth. That's inevitable, regardless of what they're making us believe. But
But they would,
I don't know.
They would know that
They would know that.
not enough people would believe in one thing.
So maybe to have a normal society, they have to cast doubt,
Right.
and these celebrities, fear and doubt, to that. How we were talking about ways that they could possibly cover their tracks.
Yeah.
Maybe one of these ways is us knowing somewhat of their existence.
Yeah.
To a certain degree. So even if things occur, there will be people like I'll use faith as a word in this scenario, like people who have faith that there is something beyond, like some what we don't understand, and the other people who are just reject reality and take things at eye value, or what's the term? I don't know. Face value.
Face value. Yeah.
Take things at face value, and just like see it how it is. So maybe casting doubt on all these situations, and these celebrities are basically puppets to do that.
Yeah.
Well, closely, I feel like recently, the whole thing within that community of people who, together believe that that's what's going on.
Yeah.
They think that recently, or started recently, that people really started waking up, which is true. I feel like a lot more people look. He's kind of a meme, but I think,
Woke.
When you really, with the woke YouTubers, all that type of stuff, you could say Spiritual Soul, because Spiritual Soul know what he's doing. He has like a million subs on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people that either follow him just because they following him, or they follow him. So I feel like a lot of people are waking up and really being more open-minded and coming to their own conclusions, which is important. But they're saying because of that, the main way you keep people down at that little low vibrational state, that little low consciousness, all that stuff, is to put fear into them, and to put all this fear, all this the stress, and all them emotions that are negative. That's caused by what's going on in the world, and that's caused by what we're made to believe as a young kid, right? And so that's the thing. That type of stuff, like for me, bro, I've been the happiest person ever since like mid-summer. I have not stressed. I have not done anything like
Absolutely.
that. And
Same
I've been
as I.
cool.
Yeah.
But like, there's people out there right now that's stressing and getting mad over the littlest things,
And
those
struggling.
are the people that are, are struggling with this. Like, they're getting fear casted on them and all that stuff. And those are the people that would be. It'd be a struggle for them to really open their mind to this type of stuff, because they're being kept down by all that low vibrational stuff.
Thinking about like energy and what people give off, what their feelings, emotions come strongly into play in those types of scenarios. So like even with this pandemic, all the death that people are subject to, all the fear of you have to wear a mask and stay safe, stay at home. It's just casting fear upon everybody. There are emotions of hate, of anger, of solitude, and that energy is really affecting everyone, because you can feel it when you go out. Compared to a couple months ago, like this is irrefutable. Compared to a couple months ago, the world is not in a good state, and even not by watching the news, you can just feel that. And I think energy comes into major play here with like deep state and all these people maybe being able to manipulate people's emotions to get whatever they want, whatever it is, because that's beyond us.
Yeah. Well, I certainly hope this stuff is real.
If it is, we put targets on our backs.
Yeah,
bro.
if it is, we have targets on our back. But at the end of the day, the truth will come out eventually.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their certain perspective on it. The fact that social media is around and that everybody can have their sort of their own perspective on it kind of creates this possibility of whether it's true or not, and it kind of creates this disagreement, and there is no objectivity, and it makes you think, like, when did this thing start? Like, did it start back during the cavemen, or did it start years ago? Like, it definitely sparks a lot of very interesting conversations, and I don't know, it's scary, and maybe when I build my spaceship one day, I'm going to Mars and I'm staying there because I ain't getting controlled by one deep state.
I think it's interesting because if the deep state is real, like I said before, they're humans. They're just like us, unless you think there's lizard men, like freaking Mark Zuckerberg or something.
Yeah.
But they're just like us. So if they've gotten to that state where they can control all of the humans across the globe, then the potential is endless within us. So like we were talking about in that What is Humanity episode number 5, everything is possible when you set your mind to it. It's not like a quote that you could say to just really get people pumped up and look forward to the future and what they can do. It's literally possible. Anything is possible because you can't say that something is impossible if you're not like a time traveler, or if you can't if you don't know destiny or fate as it is. So just if you set your mind to it, how do you think that humans have progressed this much in so little time? Like, really, in looking at the scale of the universe and how long it's been, like, what, a billion years, truly, and like we're at this level of understanding and everything. It's astronomical. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll let you close it with that, bro. There's lots of good stuff, man.
Oh,
Just stay open-minded, bro.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead. You close it.
I just say, this whole thing just leads. You can believe what you want to believe. Just stay open-minded. You know what I mean? Don't take don't just follow what somebody else say. Take stuff from both sides. Look at it. Draw conclusions yourself. And you know what I mean?
He sounded like the Enlightened.
He sounded like us.
To the Enlightened brothers.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Pound right there.
Sir.
That's what's up. Well,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like the purpose of this podcast at the end of every episode, I feel like we've truly achieved it when everybody is like at some level of mutual understanding, because although we've disagreed on some portions, although we've held our own understandings, we've come to a mutual understanding and we respect each other's opinions on said topics.
That's what being enlightened is.
Yes, sir.
That's what being enlightened is.
We don't have to be on the same page, but we in the same book,
Anyway, we actually didn't talk about this in the intro. I meant to say it, but we got caught up in other stuff. But we're recording this episode the day after Thanksgiving. We got lots of thankful things to be thankful for, just the three of us. We know that in the world, 2020 has been very tough for a lot of people, but I hope that each and every individual that's watching this podcast or listening, or that just out in the world, I hope that they were able to I keep stuttering today, it's crazy, but I hope they were able to sit in thankfulness and to be thankful for at least one thing, whether maybe that's just being alive, but hopefully they were thankful for something.
What are you thankful for, Caleb? Let's go around.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that first. I'll say I'm thankful for the human brain. I'm thankful for 2020 has honestly been the greatest year of my entire life. This has been an epochal turning point in my life. Not many people on this podcast know the life that I was living before 2020, but I'll tell you this, it is not the life that you are seeing right now. It is not this man of contemplation and of scientific and of scientific excitement. I was a very different person before this year of 2020. So I'm very thankful for the turning point that I've reached in 2020 to become this scientist and to become this man of contemplation. And books and contemplation and reading and writing and coding have turned me into the man I am today. So I'll say I'm thankful for that. And within turning into that man, I've become more connected and more loving to the nature around me, more connected with my family, and more connected with my friends. And that's the only thing you can hope for.
Lonnie, actually, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
Lonnie.
sir. You already know, I'm thankful for everybody. Every single person I've came in contact with throughout my life is the only reason I'm here today. It could be just picking up a pencil for somebody. Hey, look, I'm thankful for everybody. I'm thankful for, I'm saying, just to be alive. I'm thankful for all the experiences that, I've experienced throughout my life, because, I'm saying, that's all what shapes you into you are today, or who you are today. Just recently, like Caleb said, look, this year I'm completely changed person this year from what I was. I'm just grateful that, I was able to grow into the person I am today,
Yeah, man.
That's perfect.
That's what's up.
For me, I'll start with the bad. This year, I realized that I'm a pretty ungrateful person, and I realized that I take for granted the things that are around me. We're truly blessed to not experience much loss this year.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's crazy how much things can change. And I think this year I truly realized that you have to do things before it's too late. I'm so grateful that I realized that without having to experience any loss. So this year I'm thankful. I'm thankful for understanding.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for understanding of where I can be, where I am, and what I am as a person. I'm thankful for my mind. I'm thankful for being able to juggle around thoughts, form my own opinions. I'm thankful for everybody around me, like Lonnie said. Even the things that even your reality that you haven't perceived, just know that all of the things that have been around you, that you've experienced yourself, the things that you will see are what build the foundation of your life, and your choices are what make everything special.
That's beautiful, man. And as the Enlightened brothers, and as Lonnie becoming a new Enlightened brother, a new Enlightened part of the family, we can all say that we're thankful for this podcast. We're thankful for the platform in which we are able to put forth these views, and we are thankful for the viewers for listening and consuming this content.
No cap.
So let's get into debate time.
Debate time.
All right, so we're going to debate the best Thanksgiving side, but first, CNET.com has put out doing a survey. They've I'm sorry, the bird. CNET.com has taken a survey, and they've basically have found the favorite Thanksgiving side by state. So within our very state here in Florida, we have sweet potato casserole. Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia, that whole eastern side, almost, they all love mac and cheese. Lonnie's very beloved state of Pennsylvania, their favorite is stuffing. Texas,
Damn, they gotta go.
Texas, Arizona, and these are just like a few of the little commonalities among them. But Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico, they all like green bean casserole.
What about Alaska, bro?
Alaska, hash brown casserole. Oh, yeah, that is Emory's original state.
I like hash browns.
Most of them is mashed potatoes. There's lots of stuffing. There's a lot of dressing, because stuffing and dressing is different, I guess. There's some biscuits, mostly mashed potatoes. I see a lot of green bean casserole. Some Hawaii's turkey gravy, and wait, hold on. What is this state? Oh, Arkansas.
On
Arkansas.
pause, Caleb.
What?
All right, secret message, hidden message, random point in the podcast.
Oh,
if
yeah,
you're
okay,
listening.
random
What is
point,
it, Lonnie?
yeah. What's the secret message? Give a secret message to the viewers.
Open-mindedness is the key to the world.
Thank you.
All right.
Comment open-mindedness is the key to the world if you're listening right now.
Back to it.
Back to it. You can always count on Arkansas. And I don't want to be marginalistic, but their favorite side is white gravy.
What?
I guess they don't like the dark gravy, but they sure do like white gravy. I tell you that.
That's disgusting.
What does that consist of? White gravy?
That's the junk that be on biscuits and gravy, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Nah,
Why's it
bro.
gotta be white gravy though? What's wrong with the dark gravy? No, I'm messing. I'm a kid, but sure. No, I don't kid. Anyway, we're gonna start in debate. What's the best side to us? Emery usually starts the debate, but I'm gonna start the debate this time around. Mac and cheese. Mac and cheese is my favorite food. I usually say it, but for Thanksgiving, the best side, candied yams.
Are you kidding me?
Candied yams. Let's go. A specific candied yams, but candied yams, my favorite Thanksgiving side. Specifically, my Aunt Joyce's candied yams with the fat back in it. I love it. I adore it. The greatest food that I've ever consumed. It is amazing. Candied yams. Now go ahead. What's your favorite Thanksgiving side, bro?
So it's between mac and cheese and mashed potatoes, but I mess with mashed potatoes too much, bro. I gotta say mashed potatoes. Look, I'm telling you right now, mashed potatoes is something. Now, usually with me, they can be made however, but when you got the mashed potatoes with the little chunks in there, yo, I'm telling you, I got no. Hear me out. You get the little chunks in there, and then I put that on a roll. But the mashed potatoes.
Okay.
You
All right.
A little sandwich.
Okay.
I feel you, bro. Yeah, that's what's up, man. Man, but Pennsylvania said stuffing, bro. So what's up?
Yeah, stuffing. No, that's whack. I don't mess
What's wrong with
stuffing,
y'all?
bro.
Oh, I forgot to say, this is another one. Maine said side salad. Come on, son. They gotta be stripped from America after that.
Well, do you actually know a cool person from Maine?
No.
Crickets, side salad, bro.
Sorry.
What's up with side salad?
Wait, what's Florida?
You can get that with.
Where's sweet potato casserole? I mess with it. But yeah, go ahead. What's your favorite side, man?
Y'all know already. Don't get me started with the food debates. Nah. Get ready for this. Mac and cheese
Okay, cool.
in your little glass pan. Get you a little corner piece. Oh, the noodles cooked to perfection. The cheese so cheesy and cheesy. The breadcrumbs. Delicious. Adds a little crunch to your bite. And you know you got to cut the corner piece off of there. You dig in your fork. You take a bite.
He's not done. Are you done? Okay, that was our
Now
food.
the mac and cheese
he's
slithering
taking the poem
down
off
your
the top,
throat.
yeah.
Amazing.
That's
Truly tantalizing.
That's our food porn of the week. We do it every week, I guess. I forgot to say, and mac and cheese is actually my favorite food, just because mac and cheese is universal. There's so many different people that make mac and cheese that I love it. But the candied yams itself, I know one person who makes it better, and that it's better than any other side. I did want to say, I forgot, New Hampshire, their favorite is cranberry sauce. I actually have never even,
Mess with that,
I've never eaten it before.
I got some right over there.
Yeah, I've never eaten it. Is it?
I don't really like it, you know.
Yeah,
It's
it
cool.
is.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I could develop
But favorite?
whole glass
Really?
plate of that junk.
Oh,
Let me
dang,
just
bro.
say, until I try some of your aunt's candied yams, I'm sorry, mac and cheese takes the cake.
But hey, man, seems like we've put together a pretty nice podcast. But there's only
Yes,
one more
sir.
thing to do.
Oh, Caleb leading us into it today.
There's a musical number, man.
You know what's up. And, I'm good at freestyling. I'm like, you guys already know I'm the GOAT if you've been watching. Like, there's no competition. But today we actually do have competition. Somebody that can one-up me in the freestyles.
Huh?
You can spit.
Yeah.
You can spit bars, bro.
Oh, you can spit bars. Nah, this man's
I
a
got
musical
little bit, I got
genius.
a little bit, you know what I mean? I can say some stuff.
All right. Hey, talk,
Hey,
talk,
look,
bro.
Hey, look.
Hey, since you've
Wait,
always been doing the beats, I'll take it for today.
You want in beat or no beat?
It don't matter.
Oh, he said,
No, that's not me. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna give you the beat. I'm gonna give you the beat.
All right,
Tell
go
me
ahead.
what kind of beat you want.
PG. Slow joint. Hey, going riding down the block. 12 o'clock. Going crazy. Yes, my homie got the Glock. Going wild. Yes, I'm looking at my clock. I said I got okay. I'm about to hit your friend in his dome. I'm about to go crazy, I'm about to send your friend home. About to send him to the hospital, here to get a doctor. Don't play with me, hit it, yes I am your proctor. Yeah, and I'm really off the top, going crazy. And your girl, yeah, she really got that wop, whoa, chill. I'm just saying, popping pills, that's not what I do. Yes, that's a mad ill.
Oh, ill, yeah.
Yeah, I really go crazy. Going stupid curly hair, yes I get the lady.
Yeah.
Let me stop, Tom Brady, cause I'm throwing these dots at your man that is killing.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. That was fire. That was fire. That was fire,
It was
man.
fire. I'll give you the crown for this week.
Hey,
You got it. You
I
got
feel
it.
it. I feel it. I felt that one in my soul, bro. They had a crazy story,
Oh
man.
my
yo.
God, Young Stowe, check him out.
Young Stove,
Oh my
baby.
gosh.
No, coming
Ooh.
from Philly.
He was floating on the
Yes,
beat.
sir.
Oh, that-
Thank you so much for coming on the pod, bro.
Yes,
Lonnie
sir.
from
we
Philly.
appreciate you,
Yes,
bro.
sir.
Hey, and I ever since I met you on the game years ago, I always thought you have one of the best names that I've ever heard. Lonnie Nash.
Yes, sir.
That thing is
sir.
fire though. It's a fire
I
name.
appreciate
Remember
it,
that
appreciate it.
name,
Rolls off-
listeners.
hey.
Remember.
Lonnie Nash will be a name in history.
Remember all of our names.
Yeah, because
Yes,
hey,
sir.
you'll know it in the future. So
Y'all
remember
about
it
to
You
now.
gonna know it.
Yo, I'm telling you.
But thank you for coming on, bro.
Got you.
Appreciate you,
For
bro.
sure, for sure.
One
You
of
know
the
what I'm saying?
greatest homies. This is one of our best guest episodes, and this will go down in the Enlightened Brothers history.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man.
I know it.
It's
Yes,
in the
sir.
books, bro.
All right, appreciate y'all. Episode 10. We gonna have a lot of more coming. We just love y'all if you listen this far. Hopefully you comment down that secret message.
Yeah, bro.
and
Yes, sir.
we really appreciate y'all.
Hey, love. Thanks.
Peace.
So I gotta make the song cry. I can't see him coming down my eyes, so I gotta make the song cry.